Hello, I'm Dr. Claudia Hernandez. Today, we are going to open a door that, for many men, remains locked shut by fear and shame. We are going to talk about two problems that torment millions of men in silence, two ghosts that haunt their nights and their days, prostate problems and erectile dysfunction. Most men, and many doctors as well, treat these two issues as if they exist on different planets. On one hand, the prostate, the trips to the bathroom, the weak stream, the fear of cancer. On the other hand, the erection, the loss of firmness, the anxiety in intimacy, the blow to self-esteem. Each problem is attacked separately, with pills for one and pills for the other, without understanding that they are not two isolated problems. But the truth, a truth that is often not explained in quick 15-minute consultations, is that these two issues are intimately connected. They are two sides of the same coin. Today I am going to tell you something that may be difficult to hear, but it is necessary for healing. In many cases, it is your prostate that is silently killing your erection. My promise to you today is this. We are going to enter the engine room of male vitality together. I am going to reveal the 5 secret and deadly connections between an inflamed prostate and a weak erection. We will not stay on the surface. For each connection, I will explain the exact mechanism of the damage, the deep why, with clear analogies so that you understand it perfectly. And most importantly, for each connection, I will give you a plan of action, a natural and powerful strategy to cut that wire of sabotage and begin to restore your complete health. If you feel that this information is vital, that it could be the light you need to understand what is happening to your body, I ask you to commit to our health community right now. Subscribe to the channel because each video is a piece of the puzzle of your well-being. Activate that bell so you never miss an important alert. And give us a like, a simple click that helps this message of hope and science reach thousands of men who are suffering in solitude and silence. And so that I know you are ready to enter the engine room to understand the truth, please comment below with the keyword, engine room. It will be our signal that we are in this deep exploration together. And as always, it fills my soul to know where we are connecting from. I speak to you from the United States, but my Mexican heart beats strongly every time I see the name of your city and your country in the comments. It reminds me that health and hope have no borders. Please tell me with pride, where are you joining me from today? All right, take a deep breath. It's time to turn on the lights in the engine room. To understand the connection, we need a new metaphor. Think of your entire pelvic area as the engine room of a great ship, the ship of your vitality. In this engine room, everything is interconnected. We have the main generator, your heart, but we also have crucial components down here. Your prostate is like a vital filtration and cooling system. The blood vessels that allow for an erection are like the high-pressure hydraulic pipes that move the heavy machinery, and the nerves are the delicate electrical wiring that transmits commands from the captain's bridge, which is your brain. Now, what happens when there's a problem? Secret connection, number 1. The slow fire that melts the pipes, chronic inflammation and endothelial dysfunction. When a man has a chronically inflamed prostate, prostatitis, or benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, it's not just that the gland is larger, it's that there is a slow, constant fire in the engine room. It's as if the filtration system, the prostate, is overheating, glowing red hot day and night. The popular belief is that this fire only affects the prostate. But the heat and smoke from a fire do not respect walls. They spread throughout the entire engine room. The smoke from this prostate fire is a cocktail of inflammatory molecules, cytokines, interleukins, that travel through the bloodstream and attack neighboring structures. And what are the closest and most vulnerable structures? The high-pressure hydraulic pipes, your arteries, especially the pudendal and cavernous arteries that must carry blood to the penis for an erection. The secret mechanism of damage is called endothelial dysfunction. It sounds complicated, but it's very simple. Think of the inside of your arteries as being lined with an incredibly smooth, non-stick coating, like the highest quality Teflon. This layer is called the endothelium. A healthy endothelium is flexible. It expands easily to allow a torrent of blood and produces substances that keep the blood flowing smoothly. The toxic smoke from the prostate inflammation is like a blowtorch burning this Teflon lining. It makes it rigid, rough, and sticky. An artery with a damaged endothelium, with its Teflon lining burned away, cannot expand. It's like an old rusty pipe. It doesn't matter how much water pressure, sexual desire the brain sends. If the pipe doesn't dilate, the water won't arrive with the necessary force. An erection is not a plumbing problem in the penis. It's a health problem in the pipes leading to it. And the fire in your prostate is one of the main reasons those pipes rust and become useless. I remember a patient, Ricardo, a 62-year-old engineer. He came to see me about his prostate problems, but with great embarrassment, he confessed that his intimate life had shut down. He told me, "Doctor, it makes no sense. My desire is there, but it's as if the machinery doesn't respond to the controls." I explained the metaphor of the engine room and the fire damaging the hydraulic pipes. His eyes lit up. "Of course," he exclaimed. "It's a material fatigue problem due to constant heat. I understand that perfectly." We began an aggressive anti-inflammatory protocol, not just for his prostate, but for his entire vascular system. Months later, he returned and told me, "Doctor, we've controlled the fire, and the hydraulic machinery is starting to respond again." The action plan to extinguish this fire and repair the pipes. Adopt a firefighter's diet. Your first line of defense is a radically anti-inflammatory diet. This means omega-3 fats. These are the most potent fire-extinguishing agent. Eat fatty fish, wild salmon, sardines, trout, at least 3 times a week. Incorporate a tablespoon of ground chia seeds or flax seeds into your daily diet. The power of spices, turmeric, with black pepper to activate it, and ginger are 2 of nature's most powerful anti-inflammatories. Add them to your meals, teas, and smoothies. Deeply colored fruits and vegetables. Eat a rainbow every day. Berries, dark leafy greens, bell peppers. They are loaded with antioxidants that repair the damage from the inflammatory smoke. Eliminate the fire's fuel. You can't put out a fire if you keep pouring gasoline on it. The biggest fuels for inflammation are sugar in all its forms, refined flours, white bread, white pasta, processed vegetable oils, soy, corn, sunflower, and fried foods. You must declare them public enemies of your engine room. Consider a high-quality supplement. A good fish oil, omega-3 supplement with a high concentration of EPA and DHA can be a fundamental support. Look for brands that certify their purity and are free of heavy metals. Consult your doctor about the appropriate dose for you. We've started to put out the fire, but the fire has caused a second, more subtle and devastating problem. It has been stealing the essential fuel for an erection. Secret connection, 2. The silent thief of essential fuel, inflammation, and the theft of nitric oxide. For those hydraulic pipes, your arteries, to open wide and allow the torrent of blood that produces an erection, they need a chemical signal. The most important chemical signal for vasodilation is a miracle molecule called nitric oxide, NO. Think of nitric oxide as the high-pressure hydraulic fluid in our system. When the brain gives the full power command, a healthy endothelium releases nitric oxide. This fluid instantly relaxes and expands the arteries, and boom, a firm erection occurs. Without enough nitric oxide, there is no erection. It's that simple. Now here comes the secret connection that few explain. Your body has a limited supply of the resources needed to produce nitric oxide, and it has to decide what to use it for. The process of fighting chronic inflammation, that slow fire in your prostate, is a task that consumes a gigantic amount of resources, including the precursors to nitric oxide. Your immune system, in order to fight the fire, literally steals the molecules that should be used to produce the nitric oxide you need for your erections. It's a matter of priorities for your body. Imagine that in the engine room, there's a fire, prostate inflammation, and at the same time, the captain calls for full power, for a maneuver, an erection. The chief engineer, your body, will make a logical decision. Forget the maneuver, all hands and all resources to extinguishing the fire. This is a survival emergency. Your body perceives chronic inflammation as a survival emergency and diverts all resources to fight it. Your erectile function becomes a luxury the system cannot afford. Prostate inflammation creates a silent thief that, night after night, robs you of the very fuel of your virility. I remember a patient, Alejandro, a 58-year-old lawyer under a lot of stress. He was taking the little blue pill, but he told me it was working less and less. It's like the engine wants to start, but it has no fuel. His labs showed elevated inflammatory markers from his prostatitis. I explained the nitric oxide thief theory to him. I told him, "You're trying to fill the tank of your race car while a thief is siphoning the gas from underneath to put out a fire in the trunk. You'll never have enough." We stopped focusing on the erection and focused on catching the thief. We started a diet specifically designed to reduce inflammation and, crucially, to increase the production of nitric oxide. 6 months later, he had cut his pill dosage in half, and in his words, the tank feels fuller than ever. The action plan to stop the thief and refuel on nitric oxide. Eat no-producing foods. Some foods are veritable nitric oxide factories. Incorporate them into your daily diet. Leafy green vegetables, spinach, arugula, chard, lettuces. They are rich in natural nitrates that your body converts directly into nitric oxide. Arugula is the queen here. Beets. This is the superstar of nitric oxide. A small glass of fresh beet juice or eating them cooked can noticeably increase your NO levels. Garlic. It contains a substance called allicin that activates the nitric oxide-producing enzyme, ENOS. Eat a clove of raw garlic a day if you dare, or cook it lightly in your meals. Citrus fruits and watermelon, rich in vitamin C, which protects NO, and citrulline, a precursor to NO. Dark chocolate, pure cocoa, over 75%, is rich in flavonoids that improve endothelial function and NO production. A small square is a medicinal pleasure. Create the hydraulic power smoothie. This is a practical and powerful recipe. Blend a handful of spinach, half a small cooked beet, a handful of berries, a piece of ginger, the juice of half a lemon, and water. Drink it several times a week. Breathe through your nose. Nasal breathing is crucial. Your paranasal sinuses produce nitric oxide that you inhale with every breath. Mouth breathing bypasses this vital step. Practice slow, deep nasal breathing throughout the day. The fire is more controlled and the fuel is being replenished. But the heat has already caused damage to the most delicate system of all. Secret connection number 3. The sabotage of the electrical wiring. Nerve damage by proximity. An erection is not just a hydraulic event. It's a neurovascular event. You need the pipes, blood vessels, but you also need the delicate electrical wiring, the nerves, to carry the command from the brain. Without the electrical signal, the hydraulic valves do not open. This is where anatomy becomes cruel. The nerves responsible for an erection, a set of incredibly delicate fibers called the neurovascular bundles, do not pass far from the prostate. They pass right next to it. They run along the sides of the prostatic capsule like 2 fine wires glued to the surface of a generator. Now, return to the image of the fire in the engine room. Imagine our generator, the prostate, is overheating, vibrating, and sometimes even leaking a corrosive fluid, inflammatory molecules. What happens to the delicate plastic coating of 2 wires that are glued to that burning generator? It melts. The heat and chemicals from chronic prostate inflammation literally fry the cavernous nerves. They damage their protective layer, the myelin sheath, which is like the insulation on a wire. When this layer is damaged, the electrical signal traveling from the brain is lost. It dissipates, it short circuits. The brain can be shouting, "Erection now." But if the wire is frayed, the signal never reaches its destination, or it arrives so weakly that it produces no effect. This is why prostate surgery can cause erectile dysfunction, because it is sometimes impossible to separate these nerves without damaging them. But what few people tell you is that years of chronic inflammation can do the same damage as a scalpel, only more slowly and silently. I remember Miguel, a 65-year-old man with diabetes and chronic prostatitis. He told me something very moving. "Doctor, I feel the desire in my soul, in my brain, but from there down, it's as if the line has been cut. There is a terrible silence." I explained that his prostate inflammation, aggravated by his diabetes, was likely melting the insulation on his internal wiring. The concept shocked him. We focused on a plan to nourish and protect his nerves. The action plan to protect and rebuild the electrical wiring. Nutrients for myelin. The myelin sheath, the insulation of your nerves, is made of fats and proteins. It needs the right building blocks to repair itself. B-complex vitamins, especially B1, thiamine, B6, pyridoxine, and B12, cobalamin, are absolutely essential for nerve health. They are found in meats, fish, eggs, legumes, and dark leafy greens. Alpha-lipoic acid, ALA. This is a unique antioxidant that is both water-soluble and fat-soluble, allowing it to penetrate nerve cells and protect them from oxidative damage. It's found in small amounts in spinach and broccoli, but here, supplementation, always under medical advice, can be very helpful. Smart fats. Eat fats that build nerves, not fats that inflame them. Omega-3s, especially DHA from fish, are a structural component of the brain and nerves. The healthy fats from avocados, walnuts, and olive oil are also fundamental. Control your blood sugar. High blood sugar is poison to nerves. It's like pouring acid on the wiring. If you have prediabetes or diabetes, controlling it is the most important action you can take to protect your pelvic nerves. A low-carbohydrate diet is essential. Now that we're protecting the wiring, we must relieve the physical pressure that is strangling the entire engine room. Secret connection, number 4. The tension that strangles, the structural stress of the pelvic floor. This is a purely mechanical and physical connection that almost no one considers. An enlarged and inflamed prostate is an organ that takes up more space than it should. It's like installing a generator that's too big in an already crowded engine room. This increase in volume creates constant physical pressure on all surrounding structures. In response to this pressure and the dull ache of inflammation, the muscles that form the floor of the engine room, the pelvic floor, do what any muscle does when it feels threatened. They tighten. They contract chronically, creating a state of hypertonicity. It's a constant low-grade spasm. Imagine the floor of the engine room, which should be firm but flexible, turning into a rigid slab of concrete. And what passes through this concrete floor? The hydraulic pipes and the electrical wiring. A chronically tight pelvic floor is like a clamp that physically strangles the arteries and nerves going to the penis. The fire might be out, the nitric oxide might be available, and the wires might be well insulated. But if a concrete clamp is crushing them, nothing is going to work. This tension is the cause of much chronic pelvic pain, and also a direct and massive factor in erectile dysfunction. The man feels he needs more strength for an erection, and instinctively tightens his pelvic muscles even more, worsening the problem. The solution is not more strength, it is more relaxation. I remember a patient, Javier, a 55-year-old professor, very intellectual. He told me, "I've optimized my diet, my supplements. Everything should be working, but I feel a blockage, like a knot that won't let go." I asked him to lie down and taught him a simple pelvic relaxation stretch. After 30 seconds, his eyes widened. "My God," he said. "I had no idea I was so tight down there. I can feel muscles I didn't know I had." Learning to relax his pelvic floor was the missing piece of his puzzle. The action plan to release the concrete clamp. Learn to breathe with your diaphragm. The key to relaxing the pelvic floor is diaphragmatic breathing, belly breathing. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your abdomen. Breathe in such a way that the hand on your abdomen rises and falls, while the hand on your chest barely moves. Every time you exhale slowly, visualize your pelvic floor melting and relaxing downward. Incorporate pelvic relaxation stretches. You don't need to be a yogi. 2 simple poses can work wonders. Child's pose, balasana. Kneel on the floor, touch your big toes together, and separate your knees about as wide as your hips. Exhale and lay your torso down between your thighs, resting your forehead on the floor. Let your abdomen rest between your thighs. Breathe deeply in this pose for 1-2 minutes. Happy baby pose, Ananda Balasana. Lie on your back. Bring your knees towards your chest. Grasp the outsides of your feet with your hands. Open your knees slightly wider than your torso, then bring them up towards your armpits. Keep your ankles directly over your knees. Flex through your heels and gently push your feet up into your hands as you pull your hands down. Relax your back and pelvis. Breathe here for a minute. Walk. Relaxed walking is one of the best ways to promote rhythmic movement and natural relaxation in the pelvis. A sedentary lifestyle is the father of pelvic tension. We've put out the fire, refueled, protected the wires, and released the pressure. But we are left with the most important connection, the one that happens on the captain's bridge. Secret connection, bar 5, the psychological warfare, the short circuit between pain, fear, and desire. This is the final connection, the one that closes the vicious cycle. Prostate problems don't just cause physical issues in the engine room. They send constant red alert signals to the captain's bridge, to your brain. Think about what prostatitis or BPH makes you feel: dull pain, urinary urgency, fear of cancer, sleepless nights. Each of these symptoms is a stress signal. In response to these signals, your brain activates the sympathetic nervous system, the famous fight or flight mode. It releases stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. And here is the iron law of male physiology. The nervous system for an erection, parasympathetic, and the nervous system for stress, sympathetic, are like oil and water. They cannot coexist. They are opposing switches. When one is on, the other is off. An erection is a phenomenon of relaxation, of safety, of flow. It is the result of the parasympathetic system saying, everything is okay, we are safe, we can dedicate energy to pleasure and procreation. The stress, pain, and fear from prostate problems activate the sympathetic system, which screams, danger, this is not the time to relax. Divert all blood to the leg muscles to run, not to the penis. Cortisol and adrenaline are the direct antagonists of nitric oxide. They are the emergency shutdown command for all the hydraulic machinery. This is the final short circuit. The pain from the prostate causes stress. The stress kills the erection. The lack of an erection causes more stress and performance anxiety. This new stress aggravates the pelvic floor tension and inflammation, and the cycle perpetuates itself, dragging you into an ever deeper pit. The action plan to rewire the captain's bridge and turn off the red alert. Acknowledge and validate the connection. The first step is simply to understand this. Your erection problem is not a failure of your masculinity. It is a completely normal physiological response to a state of chronic stress and pain. Let go of the guilt. This knowledge is the first step to freedom. Practice 4 to 7 8 breathing. This is a very powerful calming breathing technique to activate your parasympathetic system. Exhale completely through your mouth with a whoosh sound. Close your mouth and inhale quietly through your nose to a mental count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 7. Exhale completely through your mouth, making a whoosh sound to a count of 8. This is one breath. Repeat the cycle 3 to 4 times. Do this several times a day, especially when you feel stressed or before intimacy. Mindfulness. You don't need to meditate for hours. Simply dedicate 5 minutes a day to sitting quietly and paying attention to the sensations in your body without judgment. Feel the air coming in and out. Feel the contact of your body with the chair. This practice trains your brain not to react in panic to every bodily sensation. It teaches you to be the captain who calmly observes the storm, rather than a sailor running around the deck screaming. There you have them. The 5 secret connections. The fire of inflammation that damages the pipes. The nitric oxide thief that steals the fuel. The sabotage of the electrical wiring from the heat. The concrete clamp of a tense pelvic floor. And the short circuit of stress in the brain. You can see now that your erectile dysfunction is not a separate problem. It is very often the canary in the coal mine. It is the check engine light on your car's dashboard. It's the siren warning you that there is a fire in the engine room of your vitality. And the solution is not to simply change the warning light bulb, but to go down into the engine room with courage and knowledge and begin to fix the problem at its root. Today, I have given you the map of that room and the toolbox. Now, as always, comes the moment of truth, the moment of commitment. We have talked about many things. I want you to choose one. One strategy, one action plan that has resonated with you more than the others. Will it be starting the firefighter's diet? Preparing the nitric oxide smoothie? Practicing the pelvic stretches every night? Choose your first step and write it down here in the comments. Declare your intention. Write, "My commitment is," and complete the sentence. This act of writing it down makes it the first step of your repair journey. And if this detailed map of the engine room has opened your eyes, if you believe it can help another man understand the true cause of his suffering, please share this video. Be the friend, the brother, the son who doesn't just give a pat on the back, but offers knowledge, hope, and a path forward. Thank you for your courage in opening this door with me. Thank you for dedicating this time to understanding the profound truths of your own body. May God bless your health, your courage, and all the people who love and depend on you. I'll see you in our next health masterclass.